Hey, what's up everybody? Andrew from B&H here. I'm at the 2026 Winter NAMM show in Anaheim, California, and I'm about to go scout the floor and see what I can find that's new and cool in studio recording gear. Let's go. I'm at the Dangerous Audio booth with a really exciting product that was just announced. This is the Bax 500. It's a single channel 500 series version of the Dangerous Baxandall EQ. This EQ is really well known with mastering and mixing engineers. With it being in a single channel 500 series format, it can now also easily be used on single channel sources for tracking. Now, one thing to note about the Bax 500 is that it is an exact recreation of the circuit that's in the 19-inch rack unit. So that's the same components and the same circuit. So it's all DC coupled. There's no electrolytic capacitors in there, and the casing is completely shielded. Now the unit has true hardwired bypass, and in terms of the controls on the unit, they are exactly the same as what you'll find on the 19-inch rack unit. So that means they're all switches, so they very positive feel. The only exception to that is the high and low shelf boost and cut control, because there simply wasn't room to fit switches in there from what I'm told. So really exciting product, really something that could be very useful, especially for tracking vocals and instruments like bass. A lot of people think of a Baxandall EQ for only mixing and mastering, but it's a very musical sounding circuit, so you can take advantage of that very easily now for tracking. So let's go ahead and see what else we can find. One of the most exciting releases at this year's NAMM show is the Rupert Neve Designs OptoFET. Now this dropped a few days ago earlier in the week, but it is a single rack unit that has two compressors in it. So it has a FET side and then an opto side. This compressor can be configured in dual stage, so that means that it's FET going into opto, or you can use the flip button to flip the order and have opto into FET. Or it can be configured in dual band mode using the crossover in the center. So then you could have the FET side compressing the high frequency content with the opto side compressing the low frequency content, or you can flip those using the flip button so that the opto is focused on the high frequencies while the FET is compressing the low frequency side. Focusing in on the FET side now, we've got variable attack and release, of course, with the attack times as fast as 100 microseconds, which is incredibly fast. And then there's a selectable ratio between 4:1 and 8:1, and there's also a 125 hertz sidechain filter. So we got a blend control here. Obviously you can do parallel compression, dialing in the amount from 0% to 100. And when you use that in conjunction with the grid control, which adds upper harmonic distortion, you can dial in the exact amount of distortion that you want for your sound source. Let's move over to the opto side now. The opto side can be switched between either 2:1 or 5:1 ratios, and you have attack times as fast as 5 milliseconds here. There's a 125 hertz sidechain filter as well, and we've got the same blend control. Now on the opto side, we have a bloom feature, and the bloom circuit engages harmonic content focused on the low frequency region, making the sound warmer and rounder and a little more low end heavy, or more present in the low end. Center section, we've got the crossover, which you can dial in for the dual band mode, and you can use the flip control to select which compressor is compressing which band. When you're in the dual stage mode, it's set up out of the box so that the FET compressor is first and the opto is second. That's a common recording chain for things like vocals or electric bass, where you want to clamp down on those transients first with the FET compressor and then have a little extra squeeze with the opto. But if you want to, you can flip it around so that the opto is first and then the FET is second. So that's the OptoFET, super cool compressor. It was a lot to go through, I know, but stick with me and we'll find some other stuff on the NAMM show floor to cover. I'm here at the Cranborne audio booth, and if you watched my recording roundup from last year, then you'll know that Cranborne released the Brick Lane 500 series unit. Now that's a pulse width modulation modal compressor is what they say, because it has 6 different modes that emulate different compressor types. And what they've done this year is packed 4 of those 500 series modules essentially into a 19-inch rack space unit that takes up 2 19-inch rack spaces. Now the thing with PWM compression, or pulse width modulation compression, is that because of the way it works, you have total control over the characteristics and you can make it sound like any other type of compressor. The MC4, again, like I said, it has 4 pulse width modulation compressors in here, and they're all analog with digital control. Each one of these compressors in here has an insert, and it also has external sidechain, and it has a gate as well. The unit has analog look ahead, and there's an internal matrix in here that allows you to configure these 4 compressors in any way that you want. So you could have mono, all in series, mono, all in parallel. You can have dual band mono, dual band stereo. You can have mid-side. You have complete control in configuring the unit however you want. So for those of you that love compression, you probably want to check this out. This is your box. Because the unit is digitally controlled, there's also a plugin that allows full control over the unit from the software. So you've got control with the encoders on the hardware unit, as well as you can control that from inside the software. And it's totally recallable because of the plugin. So a really cool piece, super flexible and lots of power in here for shaping your sound. Let's go and see what else we can find. Now I'm at Drawmer with the 1979. This is a channel strip in the 70 series that was introduced a couple of weeks ago. The unique features are most specifically the lift control, which is kind of like an expander that operates before the preamp. So it's going to bring up your level. It's really great for people that maybe don't have good mic technique, or if you're doing something like podcasting, that you can use that and you can ensure that you get a consistent level for your signal. The other features we have are switchable impedance on the microphone input. With it being a channel strip, there's a 3-band parametric EQ that's kind of like, I'm told, like the 1974 Lite. It has a switchable Q on the mid-band, and then there's also a VCA compressor here, and you can swap the order of the compressor and the EQ. So if you like to use EQ before compression, or if you want to switch that around and use your compression before EQ. There's a mix control, so you can do parallel compression, and then you've got your makeup gain control and a VU meter as well. So that's the Drawmer 1979. Let's go and see what else we can find. I am here at the Heritage Audio booth. This is not a new release, but it's pretty recent, like within the last month or so. This is the Herchild Next Generation. Now, a couple of years ago, Heritage brought out the Herchild, which was their recreation of the famed Fairchild 670 stereo compressor. And this unit is bringing the Fairchild flavor of Verimute compression to a more affordable price point. Inside, you will find 4 new old stock 6BA6 tubes and 6 custom transformers. Of course, with it being Verimute compression, those tubes are handling your gain reduction. Just like the original, it's got 6 attack and release time constants. It can be used in dual mono, stereo, or mid-side modes. These are stepped controls, so they're easily repeatable. And then there are a couple of additions to the original, Fairchild style model, with a sidechain filter here that's switchable for each side. And then we also have this DC threshold, which allows you to change the slope. It's a continually variable slope for the compressor. It's got per channel bypass, and then there's output makeup gain, and these are handmade in Spain. Well, thanks for hanging with me as I found these new releases in studio recording. I can ascend the escalator to audio enlightenment, a happy man. I will see you back in New York in the next video. Until then, it's been Andrew with B&H Pro Audio YouTube channel, reminding you to always remember audio.